Hi guys, it's Michelle, and today's video is going to be yet another terrifying conspiracy theories that I'm too scared to believe video. I think these videos are super interesting. You guys really like them, even though they freak me out, so thanks. But really though, there are honestly lots of conspiracy theories that I kind of stray away from talking about because I think they are true, and the fact that they are true probably scares me, so. You know, but you guys seem to really like these videos, so I figured I would feed y'all today, so let's get into it. All right, the first theory that I really want to talk about is kind of part of a theory that I do believe and part of it I don't really think is true. So the part that I don't think is true is the whole like population control theory, which is essentially the idea that the government or the higher ups, I guess, because this would be kind of like a worldwide issue, are trying to reduce the human population, and there's kind of like a combination of methods and ideas and theories for this. Like a lot of people thought COVID was about reducing human population. I never thought that that was true. But something I have thought was interesting is that our food is being poisoned. And I sound very tinfoil hat. Honestly, a lot of these conspiracy theories are kind of tinfoil hatty. But I think that this is true. Like, I genuinely believe that our food is being poisoned, at least in America, for sure. I know. So the whole depopulation kind of conspiracy theory makes sense for the world to, like, want less people to be giving birth, having babies. But it's also like kind of a dark theory because it just shows that they're trying to make us feel like we're in control when we're really not, which is, I think, scarier than knowing that you're out of control. Is that insane? I don't know. Something that I have always believed is that there are certain harmful substances in our food and drinks that are deliberately put there by the government, by the Illuminati, whatever you want to believe in. And that is to weaken the population, whether it is decreasing fertility, which we've seen over the years become a reality. Like, that's actually happening. Or these things just cause other long-term harmful health effects that end up fueling the pharmaceutical industry, which I think is a whole nother conspiracy theory, like how people believe that there really is a cure for cancer, but the pharmaceutical industry would rather you be sick and be using up a bunch of different types of medication rather than just one that heals you and gets you out of the hospital. I hate that I believe it, but I think this theory is so true. Like, is it gonna stop me from eating Taco Bell? No. But like, should it? Probably. Again, a lot of people think that like COVID was created in a lab and it was released, you know, to help bring down the population. I don't feel like I believe that that's true, because that's kind of like a short-term thing. Not that it's like not still affecting people, and it didn't affect a lot of people. Of course it did. But did it really affect our population? Like, no. We're at 8 billion people. Our population has grown since COVID, okay? And I don't know if I necessarily think that the food thing is for depopulation, but it's interesting that these mass-produced foods that contain harmful additives and preservatives could actually be designed to reduce fertility. Along with, which is the part of the theory I've always believed, which is creating chronic diseases like cancer, diabetes, heart disease, just weakening your immune system in general. I've always thought that the food, that they put stuff in the food. I know, it sounds so tinfoil hat. I can't. But I'm so scared to believe this conspiracy theory. And if you look at the facts, declining fertility rates are definitely happening. This has been happening for a very long time, but over the last 40 years, sperm counts have dropped by 50% with no clear explanation as to why. So that's kind of crazy. But a lot of people believe some of the microplastics and the various toxic chemically induced ingredients in our food and beverages is what's causing this infertility. And I think that could be true. But I also think it's interesting idea that the government or, you know, leader of the world, whatever you want to call it, Illuminati, I don't know, are the ones who are purposely putting this in our food and you know, beverages. That's kind of scary, and purposely doing it for the reason to make you like to bring down the fertility rates. That's a little dark. Because again, I just think that there is something scary about feeling like you're in control, but like not actually knowing that the government or higher up people just completely control you. I don't like that. I don't like that. The next theory that I'm too scared to believe has to be aliens are here and that the government knows it. So this is a theory that I feel like I've talked about aliens kind of like jokingly and lightly before, but when I say I believe aliens are real, I 100,000% think they're real. The question to me, and the part that I don't want to believe, is that the government knows about it, but even though I know they know about it, I know they know more than us, but in my head I'm like, nah. Because that's what helps me sleep at night, okay? But there have been a lot of whistleblowers and just different people, at least in the US government, that claim that there are UFOs, the government knows about it, the government knows about aliens, and it's way scarier than you think. So obviously in 2017, there was the Pentagon UFO videos. The New York Times published declassified military footage of unidentified flying objects, now officially called UAPs, which is unidentified aerial phenomenon. These videos were captured by US Navy pilots and showed objects moving at speeds and performing maneuvers that honestly defy what we know of physics. And a lot of military pilots have come forward claiming that they had been seeing these objects for years and were ordered to stay silent about it, which is not so cool. Not so cute and fun. Then in 2020, there was another UFO Pentagon report, which was basically the report from the Pentagon that admitted that over 140 encounters with no explanation had occurred where they basically found or saw an aircraft or technology that was not known in any other nation. So quite literally an unidentified flying object that seemed otherworldly. The US government also confirmed that they never believed that these UFOs were Russian or Chinese aircraft, and that raised people even more to believe that these were extraterrestrial involvement here. In 2023, a man came forward named David Grush. So he was a whistleblower. He was a former US intelligence officer, and he testified before Congress under oath, claiming that the US had recovered non-human spacecraft and bodies from crash sites. He also claimed that the government has been secretly reverse engineering alien technology for decades. And he also claimed that there were illegal cover-ups that even some members of Congress were unaware of. He also talked about how there were decades-old crash retrieval program where the military retrieved and studied alien spacecraft from decades ago, which would mean theoretically, and I'm like, it's not even theoretically, they're saying this is true, and I don't want to think about it, but it's basically saying that aliens have visited the Earth and the US has known about it for decades. Not very cool, you know? Like, let us know. But also, are they supposed to let us know? I feel like that would create mass hysteria, so I don't really know what to do here, you know? One of the earliest known major cover-ups by the US was the Roswell incident, which was when an alleged alien contact happened in Roswell, New Mexico in 1947. So initially the US military announced that they recovered a flying disc from the crash site, but then the next day they changed the story and were saying that it was a weather balloon. And this was an explanation that still to this day many people do not believe. Witnesses claimed that the crash site contained strange metal that couldn't be bent or burnt, and small humanoid bodies that were seen at the scene of the crash. Decades later, declassified FBI documents actually revealed that bodies had been recovered from the crash site, but the government still to this day denies that they were extraterrestrial. Which, do we believe them? I'm gonna say no, which scares me. It's just like, why would the military change their story overnight if there was nothing to hide? I want to know your guys' thoughts on this. I think many people who watch my videos definitely believe that there are aliens, and a lot of you guys believe that the government knows about it. And I want to know if you guys think that's true. Do you think it's like exclusive to the US government? Because to me that doesn't make any sense. It would definitely have to be kind of a worldwide, you know, organization that's we're hiding this from civilians, like, kind of thing. So I think that this is a very interesting conspiracy theory that I just it's true. I know it's true and I don't like it. I really don't like thinking about it because it's scary. I don't want to deal with aliens. Like, I'm just hoping we kind of don't have to deal with that in our lifetime. Like, I'm not really interested in hanging out with them, you know? All right, the next theory I'm too scared to believe is one that I talked about, I think, once very briefly. And it is the conspiracy theory that Wayfair was human trafficking people in 2020. And I hate that I think this is true because it is terrifying. So in July of 2020, a very dark conspiracy theory kind of started to explode all over the internet, specifically TikTok, accusing Wayfair, which is a popular online furniture retailer. I buy from there often. Well, not often, I guess, but just like when I have been furnishing places that I've lived. I feel like a lot of people buy stuff from Wayfair every day, but Wayfair was being accused of child trafficking, and it's for a pretty interesting reason. There was essentially a conspiracy theory that Wayfair was selling kidnapped children under the guise of expensive industrial furniture, and this was like legitimately on their website. There was widely overpriced cabinets, pillows, curtains, allegedly being coded listings for human trafficking victims, which is what a lot of people believe the conspiracy theory to be. Now, the reason that people believe this is true is because somebody noticed that there was extremely overpriced cabinets, like listing from $10,000 to $15,000. And each cabinet had a very unusual and human name that also matched to the name of missing children. And there were other listings like pillows and curtains that were also marked absurdly high prices, and again, similar naming patterns. And this basically went viral overnight. Like, this was a very viral conspiracy theory for the time, and I just feel like we never really got like a good response from it. Like, the listings were just removed and that was kind of it, but like, what the hell was that? For example, like, there was a cabinet named Samaya Storage Cabinet, which matched a missing child named Samaya Mumin. Again, the list goes on and on with names that are not like common everyday names like John. These are very abstract names that match to children who actually went missing. So a lot of people think that Wayfair was like kind of using their site as like a human trafficking connection site. Like, you could pay like $10,000 for a child and that child would be the thing that shows up, not the cabinet. I don't fucking know if this is true. It just scares me a lot, because what the hell was it? Wayfair's response to this was basically that the high prices were a mistake and the product names were randomly generated and not linked to any of the missing children. And then the listings were removed because of the confusion, not because of trafficking. But the part to me that just never really made sense here is like, what? How are you going to say that those names were randomly generated? Like, they were very specific and not names that you hear every day. Like, I would understand if the names were all like Alex and like simple names, but they're not. And so I just think that this is a crazy theory. And I don't really love it. I'm not gonna lie. I'm a little scared. But what I will say, which doesn't really make sense to me here, is that a lot of the missing children who were, you know, linked to this Wayfair, like cabinets and such, they were found like alive and well, or some of them, their cases were solved. So I do think that that is a question mark here. It's because like, why were some of the kids that were found literally safe? Like, why are they being listed on Wayfair? That makes no sense, but who knows? Either way, it is fucking weird, and I do not believe, like, the fact that they came out and said it was randomly generated, like, that's insane. Like, obviously it wasn't. I don't know. I want to hear your guys' thoughts on it. What did you believe, like, in 2020? What do you believe now? Let's talk about it. Alright, speaking of trafficking, there's something really weird going on in Los Angeles, and it is pointing to human trafficking, and it is really scary. So this has been a recent discovery that has gone all over social media, which is basically that from like Google Earth images, you can see this area of downtown LA where there's mysterious like messages being written on the ground. Like, it says help, LAPD, federal, Trafico, which is Spanish for traffic. And a lot of people think that that is about human trafficking and there's something dark going on here. So obviously there's a lot of historical concerns with human trafficking in LA. We've seen, of course, with Jeffrey Epstein and P. Diddy of like human trafficking in Hollywood, kind of as a general blanket statement. But it's interesting to see this. A lot of people think that there is a victim of human trafficking like in this area that was spelling out these help signs so that somebody would see them and be able to like, you know, put the pieces together, like help, LAPD involved, FBI involved, traffic, like human trafficking. I don't know. So basically what happened with this is the LAPD officially dismissed the signs as a work of a single person with mental illness. But a lot of people think that this explanation doesn't really add up here. Like, girl, I don't know what the hell I think this is, but it is scary. There has kind of been like a lot of dark theories on it, especially on TikTok. And I honestly don't know what to believe here, but I definitely don't believe that it was just like some random homeless person that just like was spelling out shit for no reason. I just think that this is, I don't know, something about it doesn't add up. And again, when you connect it to everything that was going on with P. Diddy and Jeffrey Epstein, like this is something that we have seen genuinely happening in Hollywood. Could potentially like local police departments like the LAPD or federal like the FBI be involved with some of these human trafficking issues? I have always been saying that, yeah, I think they know about it, because how the hell are they not gonna know? How the hell did Jeffrey Epstein keep that secret for so long? Think about it. And think about all the fucking people who were involved with Jeffrey Epstein. Like, not even, you know, I'm not saying these people were necessarily involved with like what he was doing, but let's look at the people that he was friendly with. High-ranking politicians like Bill Clinton, Donald Trump, Prince Andrew, other CEO billionaires. Just some overall shady shit, you know? And then, of course, with P. Diddy, we're not even sure who was involved yet, but we know that there are definitely going to be celebrities that are going down with P. Diddy. And again, these people who were friends with Diddy and were probably aware of what was happening, slash like it's like he wasn't partaking in this alone, you know? So it's a little scary to think that like perhaps the government, the LAPD, the FBI, whatever you want to call, you know, overall the big scary shit, like non-civilian people, Illuminati, it's scary to think that that is really what's happening here and that they knew the whole time that this was going on. And it's dark. For sure. But like maybe they get to a point where they can't cover it up anymore, and that's why like these people get arrested. But if you think about it, something here is just off. I don't know. I want to hear your guys' thoughts on it, because a lot of you guys have been sending me like the help messages, and I don't know, do you think it really was just like a random person that just did it, or do you think that it could mean something deeper? I want to hear your thoughts. All right, the last theory that I am too scared to believe that I want to talk about has to do with Dan Schneider. So we've talked about how bad of a person Dan Schneider is in general. That's like, we kind of already know that is true. But there are still a lot of conspiracy theories about some of the things that Dan Schneider did that, you know, haven't actually been proven yet. And I specifically want to talk about Amanda Bynes, because I genuinely think Amanda Bynes needs our help. So Amanda Bynes is somebody who was very close to Dan Schneider. He honestly was there for a majority of Amanda's childhood and even into her adult life, was helping her in her career. And a Twitter account called @PersianLA27 that claimed to be Amanda Bynes tweeted some very nefarious things about Dan Schneider that is just super dark. The main Amanda Bynes Twitter account, like the verified one, claimed that this wasn't her, but then on the Persian LA 27 account, she wrote like that was her parents that wrote that or something. I don't know. Amanda's been in a conservatorship, so we know her parents do probably have some control issues. But nonetheless, this has never been verified to be Amanda Bynes. Yet this person did post a picture of Amanda's ID, like her license. But this Twitter account popped up in February of 2017, and it just basically tweeted a lot of dark shit about Dan Schneider. One of the tweets says, quote, "There are many predators in Hollywood. Some of the rumors are true, some of them are false. One man in particular took hundreds of photos of my feet. I was only 13, and one of the main reasons why I will never be able to get pregnant again." Can you imagine having an abortion at 13 because your boss impregnated you? Committed because your father touched you? Harvey Weinstein, didn't you mean Dan Schneider? No, oh, okay. So a lot of people think this is actually Amanda Bynes, which if that were true, it would just be so horrible. Like, obviously we know Dan Schneider is a piece of shit. He was like terrible to people on set and terrible to children on set, but the thought of him fathering a 13-year-old Amanda Bynes' baby is so disturbing. Like, oh my god, it's disgusting. And also, it's like kind of coincides with the theory that people think that, you know, we've talked about it before, that Dan Schneider is actually the dad of Jamie Lynn Spears' baby, which again would just be so horrible and disgusting. And it's really fucking scary to think about that could be true, because I don't know, I just think that a lot of people have been sounding the alarms about Dan for a very long time, like very long time. And it took a while for it all to kind of come into fruition the way that it has. And like, really got people listening, and it's pretty dark shit. Like, regardless, like, he clearly treated the kids really terribly. Like, if you read Jeanette McCurdy's book, it's an amazing book, and you would just know that the way that Dan Schneider was as a boss was terrible. But to think that he would be capable of doing such disgusting things with, like, literal children is very, very dark and very scary, because this man was working on kid sets for decades. Like, I cannot believe that this could be true. And honestly, I hope it's not, because that would be very terrifying. And I can't. I want to hear your guys' thoughts, though. Anyway, that is it for today's video. If you guys liked it, please give it a big thumbs up. Let me know in the comments below what you guys think of all of these conspiracy theories. And also let us know what conspiracy theories that you're too afraid to believe, because I want to hear them. But that is it. Make sure you follow me on Twitter, TikTok, and Instagram, and subscribe for new videos every week. And I'll see you guys later. Bye.